The canyon did not roar or threaten. It simply waited. Heat pressed down from above, turning the air thick and merciless, and the smell of iron hung heavy where her blood soaked into the dust. She lay trapped beneath a slab of fallen stone, her leg pinned at an angle that sent sharp waves of pain through her body each time she breathed. Every instinct screamed at her to cry out, to curse the sky or beg the spirits for mercy, but she refused. Silence was her shield. Silence was strength. When she heard the scrape of boots against rock, her fingers tightened in the dirt. A shadow crossed the sun and she lifted her eyes slowly. A rancher stood above her. Broad-shouldered, cautious, one hand resting near his rifle. He looked at her the way men often did, measuring danger, deciding whether to step closer or turn away. She decided first. "Make it quick, rancher," she said, her voice low but steady. "I won't scream." The words surprised him. He had expected fear, maybe hatred. Instead, he saw defiance burning behind the pain in her eyes. He climbed down carefully, stones clattering into the depths below. Up close, he could see the wound clearly, the crushed leg, the dried blood, the tremor she fought to hide. Anyone else would have been begging. She only watched him, unblinking. "This rock could shift," he warned. "If it does, then do it fast," she replied. "I've already made peace with worse than death." He swallowed hard. The canyon felt narrower now, as if the walls themselves were listening. He tested the stone with his hands. It didn't move. Sweat ran down his neck as he searched for a way to lever it free. All the while she stayed silent, her breath slow, her jaw clenched so tightly it ached. A gust of wind swept through the canyon, lifting dust and memory alike. She thought of her people, of stories told by firelight, of hunters who endured without complaint. Pain was not new to her. Being trapped was not the same as being defeated. As the rancher wedged iron beneath the rock, their eyes met once more. In that moment, something shifted, not the stone, but the understanding between them. This was no helpless victim beneath the canyon. This was a woman daring the world to break her, and the canyon, ancient and cruel, held its breath. The rock groaned as the rancher drove the iron bar beneath it, the sound echoing through the narrow canyon like a warning from the earth itself. Dust rained down, stinging her eyes, but she did not flinch. Her fingers dug into the ground, nails breaking, as pain surged through her trapped leg in violent waves. She focused on breathing, slow and controlled, the way her mother had taught her when the body wanted to give in. Each breath was a battle, and she intended to win. The rancher's arms trembled as he pushed, muscles straining, teeth clenched. He stole a glance at her face, expecting to see tears or terror, but found only rigid concentration. It unsettled him more than any scream could have. He had seen men twice her size collapse under lesser pain. She endured in silence, her pride holding her upright, even as her body threatened to fail. "Tell me if it's too much," he said, voice tight. She shook her head slowly. "If I speak," she answered, "I might waste the strength I need to stay awake." The stone shifted a finger's width. The movement sent a brutal jolt through her leg, and for a heartbeat her vision went white. She tasted blood where she had bitten her lip, but still no sound escaped her. The canyon seemed to close in, walls pressing closer, as if testing how much suffering could be borne without breaking. Gravel slid from above, clattering down the slope. Both of them froze. If the rock slipped the wrong way, it would crush what remained of her leg, or trap the rancher alongside her. He hesitated, torn between retreat and resolve. "Go," she said sharply. "If the canyon wants one life, don't give it two." He met her gaze and saw something that stopped him from moving. Trust. Not blind hope, but earned trust, given in the darkest moment. He pushed again. With a grinding cry, the boulder rolled just enough for her leg to come free. She gasped then, a sharp intake she could not stop, her body finally claiming its right to pain. The rancher dropped to his knees, breathless, staring at the space where the stone had been. She lay still, chest rising and falling, alive. Blood soaked the dirt beneath her, and the danger had not passed. But the canyon had loosened its grip. For the first time, she allowed herself to close her eyes just for a moment, knowing she had endured what was meant to end her. They could not stay where they were. The canyon had released her, but it had not forgiven them. The rancher tore a strip from his shirt and pressed it firmly against her leg. binding the wound as tightly as she would allow. His hands moved quickly now, urgency replacing hesitation. Blood still seeped through the cloth, warm and dark, but she nodded once to show she could endure more. Endurance was something she carried like a second spine. He helped her sit up, and the world tilted. For a moment the canyon spun, the sky cutting into pieces above the stone walls. She steadied herself with a slow breath, refusing to faint. If she lost consciousness here, she knew she might never wake again. "Horses?" she murmured suddenly. The rancher stiffened. "You hear them?" "I feel them," she said. "The ground listens before the ears do." Distant vibrations crept through the rock. Faint but unmistakable. Riders, not the kind who rescued. The rancher cursed under his breath and moved fast, lifting her with care that surprised them both. Each step sent fire through her leg, but she locked her jaw and leaned into him, refusing to be a burden. When he set her on his horse, she gripped the saddle horn, steady despite the pain tearing at her body. "Follow where I point," she whispered as they moved. Not the open trail. She guided him through narrow cuts and hidden bends, paths carved into her memory since childhood. The canyon shifted around them, shadows stretching as the sun dipped lower. Behind them, voices echoed, men calling, searching, confident. She reached for her bow, fingers trembling but precise, and fitted an arrow as if pain were nothing more than background noise. From a ridge above, she loosed it. The arrow struck true, a sharp cry following it. Chaos erupted among the riders, buying precious moments. The rancher urged the horse forward, heart pounding, trusting her instincts without question now. She fired again, then again, each shot deliberate, conserving strength, conserving hope. At last they reached higher ground, where the canyon widened, and the wind carried their scent away. She sagged slightly, exhaustion finally breaking through her discipline. The rancher steadied her, awe written plainly across his face. "You should be dead," he said softly. She met his eyes, fierce even now. "Many have thought that," she replied. "The canyon tried. It failed." Behind them, the shadows swallowed the trail. Ahead lay uncertainty, pain, and survival, but she had already proven one thing. Being wounded did not mean being finished. Night came quietly, draping the land in cool darkness as they rode beyond the canyon's reach. The stars emerged one by one, sharp and watchful, and the wind carried the scent of juniper instead of blood. When the horse finally slowed, she signaled for him to stop. Her strength was thinning now, bleeding away with every mile she had forced herself to endure. The rancher helped her down, easing her onto the ground near a small stand of rocks that offered shelter. He worked a fire to life with practiced hands, the flames flickering like fragile hope against the dark. She watched him from the earth, her breathing shallow but steady. Pain pulsed through her leg, relentless, yet familiar, something she could live alongside. He cleaned the wound as best he could, careful not to meet her eyes when she hissed softly, the only sound of weakness she allowed herself. When he finished, he leaned back, exhaustion finally claiming him. "You didn't have to save me back there," she said after a long silence. He looked at her then. "You didn't give me much choice." She almost smiled. Dawn crept in slowly, pale light spilling over the horizon. Birds stirred. The world moved on, indifferent to what they had survived. She pushed herself upright, ignoring the protest from her body. The rancher started to object, then stopped when he saw the resolve on her face. "This is where we part," she said. "My people are east of here." He nodded, though it was clear he wanted to argue. Instead, he handed her a small knife, its handle worn smooth. "In case the canyon isn't done testing you." She accepted it with a solemn dip of her head. It already did. She mounted her horse with effort, every movement deliberate, every breath earned. From the saddle, she looked back at him one last time. The man who had come upon her expecting, a body had instead, witnessed a truth few ever saw. "Remember this," she said. "Strength isn't loud. Survival doesn't beg." Then she turned and rode away, her silhouette cutting across the early light, wounded but unbowed. The rancher watched until she vanished into the land, the fire dying behind him. Somewhere in the vast silence, the canyon remained ancient, patient, but it no longer held her. She had passed through its grip and carried the story forward alive.